So I guess my screen is sharing. Is my screen visible to all?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So let me first show you how does it look. We can use various layouts to make this game. Parts again and again every time to specify the use of one version only. But you don't have to do it if you have only one Java installed in your laptop or PC or whatever. So is the output visible to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So let's play it. I've added sound to it as well. If we do something like this. So you can see that player one wins, and when we click OK, the game just restarts. All right. So this is basically the tic-tac-toe game that we were supposed to make, right? Nine buttons, right? And what we did, we added it to the frame. So either we can do one thing like add buttons individually, like B1, comma B2, comma B3, or I just decided to create an array of them, an array of so then I created the buttons. Then again notice one thing that I am using grid layout here. You can use another layout as well, like you can use set layout, or you can not use any layout. Set layout is null, right? So the thing with when we do this set layout, when we don't set a layout, then what we have to do is we have to set locations for every button. But here I've used grid layout, and you can see I have not set any bounds or location to any of the buttons, right? You can see that here I haven't added any bounds to any button. So what
Yes, sir.
grid layout does, if someone is saying something,
No, no, nothing, sir. It's
okay.
okay.
So what grid layout does, I made a grid layout of 3 comma 3. So what it did, it made a 3 comma 3 layout of filled with 9 buttons. So I didn't have to set any location or size or something like that. It just Java managed it automatically. I didn't have to do anything. Yeah. So another thing what I did was, so whenever I was clicking any button, so I was getting the source of that button, right? Into into a general button and stored it into a reference variable of a J button. Right. What I did here is it's typecasting. Are you all aware about typecasting? Hello. Come on, answer.
So it is like conversion of a predefined text something.
Yeah, you can call it conversion of one type into another type. Right. You
Yes,
can
yes.
say it like that. So it's just what we are doing is just typecasting it into a button, the source into a type of button. So what we do here is like if we are clicking on any button, so the source of that button is getting generated and is getting stored in this B1, right? So when this is happening, we can set at first. Yeah. So another thing is, yeah, we have a variable k. So why are we using k? Anyone has any idea? If you have made that game already, and we are initializing it as a zero here. So why are we using K here? Anyone has any idea? Come on, just it's not like someone will scold you for answering wrong. You can say anything. If you have an idea like why we are using K there, you can say it. Come on.
Decide the player's turn.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Who said that? I couldn't get it. Um,
Nissan.
Kunal. Okay. Yeah, that's good, Kunal. Yeah, right. K decides that. So when K currently K's value is zero, right? So when we take remainder of zero, so what the output is zero. So that means 0 is equal to 0. That means this condition is true. So what will happen is the label X will get set, right? And we have set its color as red. So the label X will get set. And similarly, after this thing, what we have done is we have incremented K with 1. So now K will be 1. So the next time when we will click any button, so the K's value will be updated value will be 1. So this time this condition will false and the else part of this state block will work. So what will it print is O. So as many as time we click this any button of that, so X and right. There are another method with the name check. So what check will do? Anyone has any idea about it? Come on, I know you can understand it with the method name as well. No one wants to answer. All right.
Decides the winner.
Who will be
Yeah,
the winner? Like it's checking
yeah,
that.
that's exactly true. So who how does it work? We are using B0, B1, B2. So what B0, B1, B2 are? If we run a project, mhm, yeah, our frame. If we run it again, so what do we have here? We have an array from 0 to, so it goes from 0 to 8. So here's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So what we want that it these three blocks gets X simultaneously. So what are their like number? 0, 1, and 2. 0, 1, and 2. So if three blocks at the three buttons at the same time, right? 0, 1, and 2 gets X, then it's X is a winner. Similarly for 3, 4, and 5, which are 3 and 4 and 5, 3, 4, and 5. If they get X at the same time, then they are the winner. Similarly, we are applying cases for all like rows and columns and diagonals as well. Right. So we can have. Okay. So tell cases do we need to apply? Like how many conditions do we need to check? In all, like how many conditions can be possible when we are checking? Hmm?
8.
8.
8.
That's yes, that's correct. Because three rows, three columns, and two diagonals. That's all right. And what if no one wins? So what if no one wins? If no one wins, then I will even set a condition for draw. Game draw. Right. Yeah. So this is what the simple game is. If we set a condition for no one to win. Hmm, see what it say? Game draw. Click OK to restart. Right. So it's about the message that we want to type. So in order to write a message, what we use is J option pan dot show message dialog. Yeah, and we can write anything in it to show message. Alright. So this was the game. I hope that you all understood it really well. If not, then please ask me. So do you have any doubt in tic-tac-toe? Any doubt? Anything that you couldn't understand? Anyone?
No, sir,
No?
it's okay.
Okay.
Fine.
Hello, sir.
Yes, Kunal.
Can you show the condition of tie condition?
Okay. It's simple. Like if both the conditions didn't work, like if neither X nor O won, right? So what we can do is we can declare it as a draw. But for that to happen, we have to set k equals to 9. So why are we doing this? K equals to 9. So let me remove this. See, is it clear to you that when neither X nor O wins, then the condition has to be draw, right?
Yes, sir.
So so what we can think is, yeah, so neither X nor O is winning. That means we can at the end write an else case, so that will cover all the conditions and will declare as a draw. But in this, what happens is when we click any of it, so what else does is it it just takes all the possibilities, right? All the possibilities of being a draw, because we have set the condition as such. But what we want when the draw should happen, it should happen when all the boxes, all the buttons have been clicked, all the buttons have been clicked, then the draw condition should occur. Did you get it what I'm trying to say?
Yes, sir.
All the buttons should have at least either X or O. Then we can say that it's either draw or not. So that's the reason why we are using if k equals to 9. So why are we using k equals to 9 here? Because as soon as we keep incrementing k, then what we are doing is we are just, you know, setting a label to every button. So by the value of k when it's 9, so that means we have already set all the labels to either X or O. So we can be sure that the condition is now like correct to be a draw, right? So now we'll let this file it and run again. So now we can say it's draw, that the draw condition is working. So now we can see that the draw is working properly. Yeah. So I hope it's clear to everyone. Now we'll move to something else. So first I would like to tell you something really simple thing. Yeah. So do you have, any one of you have any idea how do we create an object in Java? An object. Anyone? It's a simple code. It's just a one-line code. How to create an object.
Class name, object name is equal to new class
Yeah.
name.
Class, then class name equals to new, then class name. It's something like that, right? So it's perfectly correct. Class name. So here this class is, what this class is, it's a keyword. Okay, we cannot see its color because we need to save this file first. Yeah. So so this is like this. class, then class name equals to new, then class name. So what we create, that means the object has been created. Just this small statement. This small statement is only responsible for the creation of object. So then, sir, what does this mean? Why are we writing class name equals to this and that? What's the point of using that? Anyone has any idea? No? Okay. So what we are doing here is we are this thing that we are using first is called reference variable. Reference variable. So what a reference variable does? A reference variable holds let me describe it through a program. Mhm. Create a simple class demo. Let's create another class. And one more thing that I'd like to say to everyone is when we write a class's name, always write it with a capital letter. Right? Always the first letter of the class name should be capital because it's not like it's necessary, but it's preferred. So never write a class name is like ABC or something like that. If you want to write it, then just make the capital first letter as capital, right? So we are making a class as A. Then what we are doing is, yeah, okay. So what we are doing here is let's create a variable X, okay. And then what we should do is let's create a method void. Um, so are you all aware about what methods are? Well, acha, okay, tell me. What are functions? Anyone? What are functions? Fun- So what are functions? Tell me. What do you mean by functions? Just give it to me in your own
Functions
language.
does the task repeatedly. Once
Yeah.
called,
Okay.
they do.
This is yeah. Does the task repeatedly? Okay, we can consider it in a broad sense. Anyone else? What are functions? Can anyone tell us? Just give your own definition of a function. Then I'll give you my own definition of a function. Hmm. Kunal, Shantanu, Sauvik, or Sumanjali. Anyone? Functions are basically block of codes. This is a simple definition. Block of code which perform a specific task. What did I just write here? Functions are block of codes which perform a specific task. That's it. That's what a function is. So what a function does, it performs a specific task of anything that we write into it. Similarly, you can see here that it's a main function or okay. Uh, when we use function inside a class, then that function becomes method. Right? Do you understand the difference between function and method? when we use a function, when we create a function inside a class, then it becomes method. So here, that's why we call it as main method. Main method, right? So we are writing another thing is void get. We are creating another function. Okay. So what we are going to do here is void get int x. Or let me write it. It will make it easier. X equals to a, then void show. Yeah, it will work. X equals to okay. So I think it's a bit confusing, but we have one is no arguments, one has no arguments, right? Or parameters. Okay. Another type of method that we have is no argument, no parameters, and no return type, right? Another type of method that we have is no arguments, parameters, but a return type, right? Now, another type of method that we have is arguments and parameters. Another type of method that we have is with both arguments and return. Okay, so does anyone know what a return type is? What a return type is? What is this? And what are parameters and arguments? Simple thing. Anyone? I can see many people.
Return types returns value, and parameters and returns return in like int a in the
Yeah,
bracket.
yeah, obviously. Yeah, that's correct. So when we say about return type, that means what kind of value a function returns, right? When we use our return type, that it defines what kind of a function or what kind of value does a method returns, right? So for example, the return type here is void. That means this method doesn't return anything. We'll discuss other types of as well. And what are arguments and parameters? Everything that we pass in the parenthesis, right? These two small brackets are called, what are these called? Parentheses, right? So whatever we pass inside the parenthesis, it becomes the arguments or parameters, right? So here what we are doing is we are so what we did in this program is we create a method which takes a parameter, all right, and stores that value into x. How can we create, what will be the syntax? Okay, we know the syntax, but what will be the, how can we create an object here? Then class name, first new, then class name, right? So tell me now, how can we create an object of class A? Come on, tell me. Anyone? So now tell me, how can we create an object
Class
of class A? Yeah.
class A equals to new A.
Okay, class A. Do we need a space here or not?
We need a space, sir.
Okay, that's completed. So what we did is we created a class here. Okay, so it should be. Okay, I just did one thing, a small thing, a reference variable. We are supposed to write something else here. Yeah, reference variable. Okay, I did a small mistake here. Reference variable. We are not supposed to write a class name. We are supposed to write any name, right? Not just class name. We can write any name here. We just need to name a reference variable. Yeah, we just need to name a reference variable here. So we need to write the class name here only, right? But here we can use any name here. So that will be considered as a reference variable. So we are naming our reference variable as A. We can name it as ABC. And another thing is, what we are going to do here is write class name here. It's just a little confusing here, but now this works properly. You're supposed to write class name here, right? Reference variable here and the class name here as well. Now this works properly. So this is the actual syntax of it. I'm so sorry. I just object of a class. Yes. That means, okay, tell me what small a here is. What the small a here signifies. What is what is this thing? It's reference variable. Okay. Is the object of the class. So what A is doing, A is the reference variable of class A. Small a is the reference variable of class capital A. It is holding the object of class A. All right. So now what we can do is we can do one thing simply. Yeah. So we are using this variable to call the method get. Okay, we are using this variable to call the method get. Now, okay, so are you aware of one thing that in order to access the data of any class, what we need to do is we need to create this object, right? That in order to create use a data of any class, what we need to do is we need to create its object. Okay, so tell me one thing, what if I want to um, you know put value into this variable x? Okay, what I want is I want x to have a value 10. So what if I write it this way, will this work? And what if I do this system dot out dot enter? So will this work? Tell me one thing. I
No,
want
sir.
to add this value to this x, right? And I did it here, and I just printed the value here. So will it work?
No, sir.
Why not? Why shouldn't it work?
We will need dot operator to access the
Okay.
uh, class
Yeah.
variable.
So we can say one thing. Okay, so what if I write it as int x? Will it work now?
Yes, sir. It will create a local variable.
Yes, it will surely create a local variable. So what we are going to do here is when we are writing x here. So what the compiler will check is whether we have an x variable declared in this scope or not. What a scope is just a place between two brackets. Like what is the scope of an variable? Like in which brackets it is there, in which method it is present, right? So what we can do is what we can check is so first the compiler will check that whether x has been declared in this scope or not, in this method or not. So compiler won't find it, so it will generate an error. Let me show you the error. Okay, yeah. So what did it do? It showed cannot find the symbol because we have not created any variable as x here. But what if we do something like a dot x equals to 10? Right. Okay, so where the error we were finding is we were finding at two lines, at line number 22 and line number 23, at x equals to 10 and at println x, right? So at 22 and 23 at these two lines. So there were problem with x at these two lines. But now let's compile and run because we have used a dot x. So what does it mean? That we are using class A's x variable, right? To store 10 in class A's x variable. Do you understand this simple thing?
Yes, sir.
It's not that tough. Now, what is this error about? Cannot find symbol x because we have written here x, and this x does not signify the x of class A. So we have to use a dot x here as well. A dot x here as well. So when we use this, compile and run. Demo. Surely we can now have our output as 10, right? Now let's do one more thing. And we don't have to write system.print.out.println here. What we can do is we can just call the show method.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, there's yeah.
Your voice
Yes.
is breaking.
Okay. Just a minute. Let me. Is it clear now? Is it clear now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now what we are doing here is we are using method of class A, get method. All right. So now let's compile and run this program. So what should be the output? Do you want to see the method? Yeah. So we have get 10 and show. So what get is doing, it is putting the value of x as 10, and what show is doing, just displaying that value. So when we write this, we can see x equals to 10 is the output. Let's create another object. Now you all have to tell me what the output is. So be attentive. Now b dot get 20 and b dot show. Yeah. So what's the answer now? What's the final answer that we are going to get? Come on, everyone solve it fast and just tell me the answer.
X equals 10, X equals 20.
Okay, that's one answer. Anyone else?
X
Any other?
equals 10 and 20, sir.
Okay, so will the answer be in same line or different line?
Different line.
I think
And
different
how
line.
can you say that?
So
Println.
maybe in same.
Yeah, that's okay. That's completely okay. Yeah. So any more answers? What will be the answer? What will be the output? Okay, so let's compile and run this. So our output is correct. X equals to 10 and X equals to 20. So it's completely correct. Now let's do one more thing. So do you remember I just said that the object is only this part only, right? So what if I just use this part only? Dot get and I write it 30. Right. And then what I'll do is new a dot show. Now tell me what should be the output. What should be the out now? Now this is a little tricky. Okay, so let me first compile it and just tell you everyone that there is no error. Like this program works completely fine. There is no error in it. The program will work. But what will be the output? Tell me. Okay, so for what will be the first two lines of the output? Just tell me that only for now. Hello?
First x equal to 30, maybe.
Like so for since we have written like 10 and 20 here, so first output will be same as our previous output, x equals to 10 and x equals to 20, right? But I want the answer for the these two lines, line number 27 and line number 28, these two lines. What will be the output of these two lines? Okay, so let's make it simple now. So I just said that new a here, what it is? It is the object. Okay, what it is the object. So what we have done is we have created another object, and corresponding to that object, we have inserted value 30 in x. Right? Is it clear up to here?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, we have created an object and we have assigned x as value 30 with that object. Now what we are doing is we are creating another object. What we are doing is we are creating another object, and what we are doing with that, we are calling the method show. So it's like, so what it's like, let me explain you it. For object, first object, what's our first object? New a, right? And who's holding its variable? A, right? So for corresponding to a, what's the value of x? Corresponding to a, what's the value of x?
10.
10. That's
10.
right. Now what we are doing, another thing is b equals to new a. So corresponding to b, what's the value of x here?
20.
20.
20. That's right. Now what we are doing here is we are not assigning any reference variable to the third object, which is new a, right? So corresponding to this object, what's the value of x here?
20.
We have 20 for b, right? So it won't matter. We just created a new object and its value is 30, right? We have assigned value 30 here. And what's the fourth statement that we have written is new a, right, dot show. So what does it mean? That when we write this new a, that means a fourth object is getting created. You understand this? A fourth object is getting created. And corresponding to that object, we have not assigned any value. So let's run the output first, then we'll discuss about it. When we click in Java demo, what we can see here is x equals to 10, x equals to 20, and 0 is the output. How's that? Okay, so let me show one more thing here. Let's write system.out.println here as well. We'll write get x equals to this. Wait, we'll write here as show x equals to this. Now let's, okay, so now tell me how many times are we going to get the get x and the get and the show x in our output? How many times are we going to get x and get show in the output? Anyone? Okay, tell me when will this statement get, print on the output window? When will this happen? Whenever we'll call the get method, then only, right?
Yes, sir.
Whenever we'll call the get method, then this statement should execute, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes or no? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes. So whenever we'll call this method, then the get method, get x will get, displayed. So how many times have we called get?
Three.
Can you see here how many times we have called the method get?
3 times.
Three
Three times,
times.
right? We have called it 3 times. Get 1, get 2, and get 3. And how many times have we called the show method?
Three
We have
times.
called it 3 times as well, right?
Three times. Yeah.
So as far as we can see that we should get 3 times get x and 3 times get show, right? So for us, first output is clear, right? Yeah. So first output will be get x equals to 10 and then show x equals to 10. What will be the second output? Okay, so what I was saying is what we have done here is we have called get method, we have called as well as show method. So what we have here is our output will be get x equals to 10 for a, right? And then it will be show x equals to 10. What will be the next line then?
Get x equal to 20 and get x equal
That's
to
that's right.
show x equal to
X equal
20.
to 20 and show.
That's right. And then show x equals to 20. Now, what will be the third output? We have again called the get method. So the third output will be as well get x equals to. This time it will be 30. Why? Because we have created this object new a, and corresponding to it we have assigned value 30 to this method. And what has happened then? X has value 30 corresponding to this object. Thus, this will come as an output. And the next output that we'll have here is show x equals to, what will be the output?
0.
0. That's right. Why?
Zero.
Because we have a fourth object here, and this object doesn't have any value assigned to x. So now so let's first see the output and let's check whether our output is correct or not. So is it the same or is it different from what we have written here and there? Can you see the output?
Yes, sir. Same output.
Is it same? So now what we can deduce from here that whenever we create an object, so the object part is just this, and other than this part, a is a reference variable which just holds the value of an object, right? Value of an object, and we can use it anywhere. So just yeah, so it's just one last example. Now what if we do one thing here is, okay, so one more thing. Okay, now let's take a simple example only. A c equals to new a, then what we do here is c dot get, and then since c has the value of an object, we can do right here. So what will be the output now? Answer me the output.
Get
I don't
x
think it's
equal
tough.
to 30 and get show x equal to 30.
So it will be 30.
So our output, final output will be something like this: 10, 10, 20, 20, and 30, 30, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let's compile it and run. And let's check. Our output is exactly the same. So I hope you understand something, this basic difference today. Okay, yeah. So I guess this much is for today, and it's 5 a.m. already. So I was thinking about, yeah, uh, helping you to develop a web application, right? A website, a small website with a database and with some small HTML, CSS content, so that you can create a small project, a small online project, right? So I'll tell you about it tomorrow, what you need to install for that. So for now, you can leave. Yeah, that's it for today.